Hey guys, welcome back to Doc Loyal Talks Comics, and here is the promised second Wizard retrospective. And it's not actually the second video, but it's for issue number 2, because I didn't have issue number 2 when I started this series, nor did I have issue number 1. So we're kind of doing this backwards, but I have the first 5 issues, I believe. So once I can dig up 3, 4, and 5, we will continue this series. Anyway, I just wanted to show how Wizard had grown literally within a month. They said that they added 24 more pages to issue 2 from issue 1, and so they had to go with this perfect bound type of printing and putting together the book rather than the staples. They just weren't going to hold up. And you can kind of tell that it's going to hold up a lot better. And the magazine would be perfect bound, I think, until maybe its last, maybe its last 6 months. And at that point, readership dropped off. The articles and things just got terrible. And by the last issue, it was once again back to staples instead of perfect bound. So anyway, guys, this starts off with an amazing Javier Saltier's cover for Ghost Rider. He had left the title by this point, but he had started the book off and stayed on, I believe, till issue number 12 with a few breaks in between. He was having trouble hitting deadlines is what it came out to be. And so eventually they let him go off the title, and Mark Teixeira took over for the next year, and then Mark left. But anyway, this is an amazing image, and it's in peak 90s. It just hits in all the right areas. All right, so we still have Now Comics taking up the inside cover with some Twilight Zone books, Kato of the Green Hornet up here, and then you get the actual Green Hornet book, Married with Children, and the Real Ghostbusters Halloween special. And what is funny to me right here is you get on this page, and I'm having to hold this one down to show it, but you get what is previews, and they're having to explain to people what diamond previews are. So is it a magazine? Is it a catalog? Is it a comic ordering tool? Is it a collector's item? It's all, all in one, and in some of none. All right, so in this issue, we have More Than a Ghost of a Chance, which was an article with Javier Saltier's, Ghost Rider Then and Now, to find out who at that point, 3 different Ghost Riders had been. You get a chance to win a Platinum Spider-Man issue number 1. You get trading cards. You get a interview with Chris Claremont. So this book, too, is popping at the seams. And here's where Gareb Shamus explained a few changes. He said, since Wizard number 1 really cast a spell, we've added 24 more pages and burst at the seams, so we had to add a perfect bind to Wizard number 2. And we also solicited Wizard trading cards for issue number 3, and this is a weird phrasing, but it says irresistibly, due to an overwhelming huge response to the poster. Instead of trading cards, we're going to bring you a poster of the unused Ghost Rider cover. Okay. What else is in here? We got another ad for the Dragon's Den. We've got an ad for the Seattle Tacoma Comic-Con, where Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld were going to be doing free autographs. I remember those days when you could get an autograph and it didn't cost anything. And here you have this amazing Chris Claremont interview talking about the X-Men and how he says they're all his babies, and I couldn't play favorites anymore, but you get to see different artists' take on different characters. So you've got Marvel Girl by Andy Kubert, Wolverine by John Byrne, Colossus by John Romita Jr., and then you get this double-page spread, which is absolutely amazing, by Whilce Portacio. And Whilce was going to be taking over Uncanny X-Men from Jim Lee with issue 281, taking over the artwork. So you really get to see, without the color in it, all the line work and all the detail from all the majesty and all the power that Whilce Portacio at that point in his career could muster. And Art Thibert was his anchor on that book. I always liked art stuff. Okay, what else do we have? We still have, this is the first issue of Chris Claremont's run, issue 94 in 1975. And this issue, which was 279, I believe, would be his last issue. So 16 years writing the X-Men. And I don't know whether they haven't let him go back to writing the X-Men because Marvel doesn't want him to, and they don't want him to have a kind of a monopoly on the characters anymore, or if Chris himself doesn't want to get pulled into something only to have his heart broken again. I can see it from both sides. All right, so here's the beginning of the Javier Salters commentary. He says he lived in New York all of his life. I was born March 15th, 1961 in the Bronx, and I've been here ever since. And that's a really, really awesome image. You can see how much time and effort and love he did put into the character and how much he enjoyed working on the character. Then you get Pat McCollum talking about something that's very interesting. He's talking about second prints. And at one point, like he said, second prints were not valuable. They were easily attained. And if you had the first print, then you had something. If you had the second print, you had nothing. But now you have 15 variants for each book that comes out, just so that they can try to keep up the numbers. And then you have second and third and 10 prints. Like, what was that? Something is Killing the Children went to a 10th print eventually. So second prints are no longer the bad guy in comics, but instead sometimes they're more valuable than the first print. And then you get Lawrence Watt Evans coming back with another article talking about Ghost Rider in the first incarnation, and then the Johnny Blaze incarnation, and then of course the Dan Ketch 1990s Rebirth variant. All right. Hey, maybe I should fill this out. I could win a Platinum Spider-Man #1. Something tells me that if I send this in and I cut it out and send it in the mail, that nobody's ever going to write back to me. But that's pretty cool how you had to answer these questions. He's amazing and spectacular. The main villain in Armageddon 2001. He is in the future. He is the law. Recently impersonated Iron Fist in the pages of Namor the Submariner. The new Ghost Rider insists that he is not this creature. And then Marvel's superhero team on both coasts. So let me know in the comments if you guys can answer all or any of those questions. And at that point, if you could, then maybe you too could have won a Platinum Spider-Man issue #1. This is a short article about comics librarianship, talking about a book by Randall Scott. And it's not really talking about the hobbyists like you and me. It's talking about more along the lines of how to build a comics library for a library system. So we're going to bypass that. Here is the Grading Your Comics article again from the first issue. Here we have Frank Miller, Ron Lim, Jim Lee, and Todd McFarlane. You got your infamous Yellow Pages type price guide again. This McFarlane Batman cover for issue 423, I believe it was, as well as The Killing Joke by Brian Boland and Alan Moore. What else do you find off in here that might be of interest? This is the DC's Hawkman series. And I'm not going to fold it out, but, well, I guess I will maybe, if it'll cooperate. But you get a slightly smaller Ghost Rider poster than I believe was in the first issue with Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. And a rather creepy Leatherface book. What else is in here? The Alien Alliance, during Invasion. Sometimes you forget about covers that were really cool. And so this Justice League of America, that was an homage to the Exorcist movie back in the day. You have an early Marvel Strange Tales. So they did really well showing these things off. And then you get Stephen Seamus, Garib's brother, talking about the Wizard of Cards. So he's talking about football, baseball, cards. He's also talking about MTV music cards, Desert Storm cards. I remember those. Star Trek, Terminator 2, Little Mermaid, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And he said soon to be released as an X-Force and Incredible X-Men and Frank Frazetta trading card sets. So then you've got Brian Cunningham talking about toying around. This is the earliest incarnation of Toy Fair, where they were talking about the prices, and they would do a price guide for action figures as well as for comics. And what else is in here? So you have the Game Master talking about the Wolverine game for Nintendo. Talks about Super Nintendo, the Genesis, and X-Men #1 finally toppled X-Force #1, just like you knew it would if you've been reading comics as long as I have. Silver Surfer 34, Spider-Man Platinum is still in there. And then, of course, they're talking about Spidey 16 and Todd McFarlane's last issue, which is a two-parter along with X-Force #4. And then we get to the book I've been doing a retrospective on lately, The Amazing Spider-Man with Mark Bagley and writer of Al Milgrom. Let's see. So books that are shipping in the month of September. You have X-Men #2. You have Wonder Man issue #3 by Jeff Johnson. Legion of the Night by Will Portacio. What else was in there? Solar Man of the Atom, The Spirit by Will Eisner. NFL Super Pro. The Dracula story that continued from issue #1. And that's pretty much it, guys. That pretty much wraps up Wizard issue #2. But let me know down below if you guys picked up this particular issue of Wizard when it came off the shelves brand new, or if you are trying to go back like I am and pick up some of the older books. Like I said in a previous video, I believe, I didn't start collecting Wizard until issue 11, so I missed out on this book by almost a year, and I definitely missed out on the Todd McFarlane issue #1 by a full year. All right, guys, thanks for joining me for this Wizard retrospective. Hit the comments, hit that like, and subscribe. Keep joining and keep growing this comic book channel and this comic book community. We have got 299 subscribers, so if I can get one more, that's going to make me put a big smile on my face. So thanks again for joining me, guys. Hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.